Hey, I'm retired Brigadier General Mike Aguilar, the Vice Chairman of the Flying Leatherneck Historical Foundation. Welcome to this afternoon's Leatherneck Aviation Museum's Medal of Honor recipient Joe Foss exhibit grand opening and the official rededication ceremony of Marine Corps Air Station Miramar.
One of these heroes who defended his country is Brigadier General Joe Foss. Today, we remember him for his extraordinary valor and selfless sacrifice for our country. We honor General Foss with respect and appreciation, rededicating the airfield in his memory. May the Joe Foss exhibit will be a major source of inspiration, educating and encouraging our current and future generations of young people and the young at heart.
Who was Joe Foss? Tom Brokaw called him the essence of the common man. He came from modest roots in a home without electricity in South Dakota and became one of the greatest American warriors in a generation of greatness. You probably looked at his bio in the program. Joe Foss shot down 26 enemy aircraft and damaged another 14 in an airplane just like that one in intense combat over Guadalcanal in 1942 and 1943. There were a lot of other talented pilots around there at that time who were also hunting the enemy. Why was Joe Foss different? Why did he win so often? Why so much more than the others? What made him different and successful in the air, and what made him a legendary Marine? One word: certainty. Certainty is a firm conviction that something is true, and Joe Foss lived this. My favorite story about him is after getting shot down, nearly drowning in the airplane, chasing off sharks and being rescued by native islanders, Joe Foss went back flying 2 days later. He's quoted in an article from the 1980s as saying, "I'm not a guy who misses anything from the past. I'm always a guy who just gets up and goes." And that not looking backward made him successful and excel in the air. But you still had to be fearless in the moment. Joe filled up the windshield with his target before shooting, close enough to feel the heat from the explosion of the airplane he had just destroyed in order to ensure that he didn't miss, much like the Red Baron in World War I. Bill Bright said Joe Foss was the original John Wayne, but Joe was real. This Marine pilot, inspired by Charles Lindbergh to fly as a young boy, went all the way from those humble beginnings to becoming one of the greatest Marine heroes and the governor of South Dakota because of his certainty and his fearlessness.
It is our pleasure to have with us this afternoon Miss Connie Foss, daughter of Joe Foss, and who's representing the Foss family. The exhibit would not have been possible had it not been for the generosity of the Foss family, and we have invited Miss Foss to say a few words on behalf of the family.
His father took him to see an air show in South Dakota. Charles Lindbergh was flying, and he said, "That's what I'm going to do." It got to the point he wanted to fly. He had to go fly, so he gave all his interest in the farm to his brother Cliff, and he went to fly. I miss him. I miss him a lot.
The entire purpose is to not only just present the items, but to tell the story behind it.
As I mentioned, it's not only a ceremony to recognize the grand opening of the Joe Foss exhibit, but also a gathering to formally recognize the renaming of Marine Corps Air Station Miramar as Joe Foss Field.